Everybody, and welcome back to the Brickazoid's Den. Today, I am not in my regular recording space. I'm actually recording in a car right now, just because I want to do this video either way. But, we have Owl House right now. Owl House just came out. I just finished watching it this morning, and it was incredible. What a great season finale. I don't even know what to say. So much happened. I want to get right into the breakdown, but I just wanted to say that again, I am not in my regular recording space. I don't even have a microphone with me. I'm just having to use my computer mic. So if it sounds terrible, I apologize. But I still wanted to try and get this video out as soon as possible because the new episode's pretty big. It's pretty wild. This is the season 2 finale of The Owl House. And wow, what a cliffhanger as well. What a cliffhanger. So we'll get into the breakdown right now, and then we'll kind of talk about, theories, etc. after the breakdown. So let's start off with our opening for this episode, where King, of course King, is in a collector dream. After the draining spell is when the collector can get out, we kind of learn. King wakes up on a ship flown by Alador with the rest of the group, and everyone's starting to argue. And by rest of the group, I mean like Amity, Willow, Gus, Hunter, that whole group that was from last week's episode, Clouds on the Horizon. The Palismen help out by giving the gang a box of food, as they, like I said, they kept arguing on the airship, but the Palismen kind of help out and push a box of food over so they can kind of conserve their energy for saving Luz instead of fighting and using up all their energy. So we also learn that Amity's called Mittens because Alador used to give her abomination magic mittens when she was cold, it seems, which is pretty cute. But yeah, that was mainly our opening, just kind of that whole part of the storyline where King and the group are flying to go and save Luz. But yeah, now we'll get to the plot. So there is quite a lot to talk about for the plot line of this episode, or the whole story of this episode here, but I am excited to get into it. So, the Day of Unity is about to begin, and Belos makes a speech to the people of the Boiling Isles. We learn, actually, I didn't think we knew this originally, but it was, the Day of Unity is the Titan combined with an eclipse. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there as another note, but I actually don't know if we knew that previously or beforehand. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out anyways. Ida, Lilith, Hooty, and Rain prepare for their plan. Ida has a sigil, a Bard Coven sigil, and uses a cloaking spell to be the Bard Head Coven Rain, as we learned in last week's episode. The arrangement of the Coven Heads is changed, so now instead of having, I think it was Darius and Eberwolf near Rain, now it is Terra Snapdragon and I think Adrian Gray, right? Isn't that his name? The Illusionist Coven guy, were instead next to Rain, or Ida in this case, because it seems like Ida has been caught at this point. But anyways, we cut to the Coven Heads being part of the Day of Unity. It begins, the Coven Heads, a light shines down and their Coven abilities are starting to be pulled from them. Belos travels to the Collector's chambers, I think it seems, kind of, and turns on the Collector, not allowing him to be freed, because the idea was that Belos would use the Titan's blood for the door, then use the Titan's blood to free the Collector. But it seems like Belos isn't really, the most trustworthy person, and as expected, he turns on the Collector, not allowing the Collector to be freed, and instead just uses the last remaining Titan's blood for the door instead. Then we see Belos kind of preparing to go to Earth, and gets in his 1600s uniform from Elsewhen. I think it was 1600s, right? That's when he was around? I think it was. And then he also, does some sort of magic swipe that, gets rid of, the curse that on his face, which was kind of interesting. I didn't really seem like I think it's just kind of hiding it instead of actually getting rid of it, because I couldn't tell if he was lying about that too, but I don't know. Anyways, the Collector is disposed of, thrown into an abyss, and Kikimora, well, not actually, yeah, Kikimora delivers Hunter/Luz to Belos. Kikimora wants her job back, but Belos says no, and then, like I said, the Collector the Collector mirror is thrown into the abyss. King and the gang continue to make their way to reach Luz, but are attacked by Emperor Coven's forces. Rain and Lilith hide as the Day of Unity begins, in the separate scene, obviously. Ida's curse is beginning to screw with the draining spell, and then Eberwolf, Darius, and Ida are basically caught, and they have to fight the other Coven Heads. They lose. Rain is caught, and the rest of the group as well is caught. Meanwhile, Luz continues to fight Bellos, aka Philip, which we get like an official name, I don't know, comparison, I guess, in this episode, where Bellos is like, no, you can call me Philip, or something along those lines. So Philip wants to help Luz get back home, but begins turning Luz into stone. Back to Earth, that is, back home. Luz tries to distract Bellos, which causes him to throw her towards his sigil glove, and Luz wants to be, Philip's guide around the human realm. This was a distraction, obviously. Then, when Luz is about to shake hands with Bellos, locks Bellos with an Emperor's Coven sigil, so that the draining spell starts to affect him as well. Meanwhile, the Coven heads start to realize what's going on, and everybody seems to be dying, or at least, I don't know, like, passing out. As well as the citizens of the Boiling Isles who are trying to leave, but the Abomatons stop them by creating a giant force field around where everybody is, so they're all getting affected. So there's just no way of escaping this draining spell. Luz wants the draining spell to be stopped, but Bellos becomes his monster form from Hollow Mind. When we saw I think it was intended to be the inner Bellos, but now it seems like it's an actual thing. So it's that form from Hollow Mind, and Bellos' power is becoming trained by the spell and drained rather. I guess I mistyped in my notes here, but drained by the spell and the sigil. Then we get multiple shots from King's sleepy POV, where Alidor is left to fight the Abomatons. Then the group makes it to the Day of Unity to check on Ida and the rest of them, and then the group flies to head and find Luz in the, I don't know, was it actually the head? Maybe was the Collector's Chambers the head of the Titan? I guess I just realized that. Anyways, Luz wants Monster Bellos to stop the draining spell, but must direct Bellos to not hit the portal door. The group arrives. Willow saves Luz from Bellos, and holds him down. Amity and Hunter continue to fight Bellos. So basically, the whole gang here is fighting Monster Bellos. King falls down the stairs and sees Kikimora there, and King is now destined to find the Collector's Mirror in the Abyss. Luz, Hunter, Gus, Willow, and Amity fight Bellos, and Bellos comes back. Yeah, this was actually an interesting moment. Monster Bellos obviously looks way different from the Bellos that we've been seeing before, and Monster Bellos turns into regular human Bellos and tries to talk with Hunter to, I guess distract him is my guess. But then sees his palisman and then just goes wild, and it just starts, getting ready to kill Hunter's palisman. Of course, Flapjack. King goes down to where the discarded golden guards are, and that is also where the Collector's Mirror has been thrown into. So this was kind of crazy to see all the bones of the golden guards, previous Hunter. The Collector was thrown into the mirror by King's dad, we learn, and King's Titan collar can make him invisible to the Collector. So that's very interesting. I think we're probably going to get more Actually, I won't say anything yet. I'll talk about that in the after breakdown, I guess. So the Collector must be freed by King. King frees the Collector. Rain saves Ida by ripping her arm off, so the curse isn't a problem anymore, really, because the whole idea was that Ida would use her curse to stop the draining spell, basically, to interrupt it almost. But Rain made a promise to Luz that they wouldn't let anything happen to Ida, so Rain, I guess in their last dying moments, I don't know if they actually died, but in the last dying moments, pulls off Ida's arm, which has been all cursified, and then it disappears, so Ida's probably armless forever now, officially armless, armless in one arm, I guess. Anyways, we see Luz, Willow, Gus, Amity, and Hunter almost die, but then the Collector stops Bellos from killing the group. Now, the Collector's actual design outside of the mirror is the same character that we see from the, was it pre-season 2, live stream that Dana Terrace did, and drew a character that was going to show up in season 2, and it ends up being the actual real form outside of the mirror of the Collector. So that was very interesting, and we get to see that whole different design. This was also the same cloaked character that Ida saw in her dream as well, and Ida seemed to be afraid. So I wonder if there's some sort of connection there with the Collector and Ida, but we obviously haven't really gotten too far, because the Collector has literally just been freed in this episode. Anyways, King guilt trips the Collector to stop the draining spell by saying they want to play a game called the Owl House. Um, and basically the idea is that you need a large group of people to play this game, whatever it ends up, whatever it is. And in doing so, they need to get rid of the draining spell. So the Collector literally just moves a finger and stops the draining spell, just showing how powerful this character really is, as well as just like immediately killing Belos really, really quickly. So the Collector is definitely a threat outside of the mirror here. Anyways, the Collector tears up the Boiling Isles to get an Owl House to play the game, the Owl House. So that's pretty crazy, and this is basically like our very big climactic ending moment here. We see a piece of the Belos goo or gunk, whatever, fall onto Hunter. Luz is refusing to leave before getting Ida, because literally everybody else in the Boiling Isles is just stuck there, except for our group of 5 here. But anyways, refuses to leave before getting Ida. King is being pulled away by the Collector, because obviously King was the one who made the promise. And King lets go and uses his sonic power to send Luz and the gang straight through the door and winding up in the human realm, and then they can't get back, really. Then we see a shot of Camilla, of course Luz's mother, in the kitchen cooking, and on an iPad we see an Amphibia reference on Camilla's iPad saying "Girl Lost in Frogland hoax," which is kind of funny. And they actually show a picture of Anne, which is pretty crazy. So are these in the same universe? And anyways, our final shot in this episode is Luz's back with Hunter, Gus, and Amity, and Willow, saying that, she's back home, basically. So yeah, quite the episode here. So now I want to go through and do a further discussion into some of the points in this episode that really stood out to me. Let me just kind of go through here, of course. Amity called Mittens, because Alador used to give her mittens when she was cold. That was a very nice moment. Glad that we got, it's funny how the show, even, like, the little sillier things are even explained in, like, this, I'm not gonna say deeper storyline, but, like, kind of. I mean, like, just kind of expand on it to explain where it came from. Just like, again, Amity being called Mittens was Alador giving her mittens, abomination mittens, when she was cold. So that was pretty nice. But yeah, lots of Collector stuff here. Belos, turning on the Collector, and the Collector being freed ends up being the character from Ida's Dream, as well as the pre-Season 2 stream that Dana Terrace did, and drawing a character who was going to be in Season 2. And the Collector is insanely powerful. Again, as I explained in the breakdown, the Collector was able to just use a finger to move, I think it was like the Eclipse, or separate the Eclipse from the Titan, and stop the draining spell. With just a move of a finger, that's insane. And then also, again, I think it was also a move of a finger, was able to, shoot Belos against a wall and cause him to explode, basically. So, it seems like our new main villain is the Collector, which was expected. He's kind of like, or the Collector, he or she is kind of like the Bill Cipher of this universe, it seems. Which I kind of thought Belos was going to be, but it doesn't really seem like that anymore. Because it seems like Collector is a very much stronger character here, and is probably shouldn't have been freed, but I kind of understand what had to happen here. Also, everybody on the Boiling Isles is left there by the Collector being destroyed, basically, is what I'm kind of seeing here, because the Collector wants an Owl House to play the Owl House game. So we see, or I guess Ida is stuck there. Rain, Darius, Everwolf, so many other characters that I just can't... Oh, Lilith is also stuck. I'm just kind of going through all the characters in my head who are probably stuck in the Boiling Isles, and that's just about our old cast, so... Literally only Luz, Amity, Hunter, Gus, and Willow are the only ones who made it out of there. That's crazy. That's like... Oh my god, that's wild. Okay. So, and then also King as well. King, basically, I wouldn't say sacrifices himself, because he didn't really, like, have to die for anything. But he did kind of have to stay back, and... Oh, it's starting to rain. Oh, no, we're good. Okay. I think it was, like, a quick, like, something from the trees. But anyways, King had to decide to stay back to play with the Collector, really, and give Luz, Amity, Hunter, Gus, and Willow a chance to escape, basically, which was nice, which was great, but I'm kind of worried about King. I mean, we didn't have any character deaths, so that was good, except for Rain, possibly, but no character deaths from, like, clear, like, this character's dead. But, just a lot of characters are in a really, really bad position right now. And I don't really know how Luz, Hunter, Gus, Willow, and Amity are going to get back to the Boiling Isles to try and stop the Collector. I mean, maybe they're going to use the piece of Bellows that fell on Hunter, because there was that piece of the Bellows goop, whatever it is, fell on Hunter before he walked through the portal door, so maybe they can use that, because there's supposed to be no magic that's able to be used for, or in the human realm. I think we explained that in the finale of Season 1, I think, where you couldn't really use magic, or glyphs, I think it was, actually, now that I think about it more. I think it was glyphs you couldn't use, but magic maybe? I don't know. Obviously, we'll have to see in the Season 3, 3 episodes, which are 45 minutes long each. I don't know when those are going to come out. It's probably going to be, like, probably a long time. I think it's probably going to be 2023 is my guess. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy still. So, Season 3, I'm very excited for it. It's going to be wild. It's starting to rain once again. Alright, so that was the finale episode of The Owl House. What a great season finale. What a great cliffhanger. What's going to happen in Season 3? I have zero clue. I'm excited for Season 3. Whenever that comes out, I'll obviously cover it. But yeah, so that was really it. If you enjoyed that video, do the common YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.